All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone that's watching and joined us. I'm Julie Landi. I'm your host for the Vision Talks series that we have once a month, hosted by Live Your Vision. And I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity to be able to share with you two incredible women. And, during the holidays, one of the things that we really even celebrate the holidays for is the relationship. I mean, if you think about it, what is this holiday all about? This holiday is actually about the relationship of God coming to be with us, Emmanuel, God with us, right? We celebrate Christmas to celebrate the birth of Jesus and Jesus coming into our world. So we thought here at Live Your Vision, this is part of our brainchild, that we too would talk about celebrating relationships. We thought there is no better way to celebrate the holidays than to celebrate relationships. And in truth, I think most of us would agree at this point in our life, our holidays are not about trees or decorations or presents or any of those things that we might have, earlier in our life thought they were about, but actually they are truly about the quality of your relationships. So ultimately, the quality of your holiday has to do with the quality of your relationships. I know for me that it does. And so I know I'm very much looking forward to getting together with some really special family members and celebrating our relationships. And I'm sure all of you that are listening are too. And I do pray that you get that opportunity. So welcome. Please say hello when you come on in. I am excited to kick off our vision talk. And today we're going to do just that. We're going to talk about celebrating relationships. So fun to see you all. So let me introduce to you a couple of my dear friends and Live Your Vision team members, both coming to you from Los Angeles. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're in Los Angeles today. And all three of us want to say a very Merry Christmas to you. But please welcome both Karin Shaw and the birthday girl, Robyn Horton. Can you guys say hi?
Hi. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are.
Good morning. Guten Morgen aus Los Angeles.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But we are so excited to be able to celebrate. Now, this particular vision talk actually was a brainchild of Robyn's. I think for those of you that were with us last month, I got to interview Robyn on how she's made such progress in her life. But following that vision talk, she and I talked about how much she and Karin's relationship has changed as a result of being a part of the community here and doing the program together. Oh, we have people coming from Oregon, from LA, from Idaho. They all sing happy birthday and Merry Christmas and great to see you. So I'm just going to convey some of that to you guys. But anyway, it's great. So I just wanted to share that Robyn's brainchild was the idea that she would like to have she and Karin come on and share how their relationship has changed. So in honor of Robyn's relationship and in honor of Robyn's great idea, we are here today to do just that. So I thought it would be best actually if we could have them give you a little snapshot of what their history of their relationship has been and how long they've known each other, how they got to know each other, and how they would characterize their relationship, maybe just in a couple of minutes. So Karin, why don't you go first?
So my family and I moved to LA in 2005, and Robyn was one of the first people I met. She was over the moon in love with my then 4-month-old, now 17 years old son. And we quickly realized that she had known my husband even years prior. And we ended up consistently spending time together. We were in a group together, and I've always admired her as somebody who's fun, very social. Yet at the same time, we realized we were very different. I was this girl from Germany, grew up on a farm, and she was this California girl. So we were certainly different, but also had a lot in common.
It's awesome. Yeah. Yes. Other sides of the world,
right? And she also ended up working for my husband, which was another bonding experience because of that, she had a kind of a closer look into my family, and she could always see me wrestle with some of the whatever company related issues, and she knew just the struggles my family went through and I went through, and just even adapting to living in America.
I bet.
Yeah, culture shock for Karin. But Karin, when I first met Karin, she was definitely you epitomized my vision of a strong German woman. You were hardworking, loyal, like you were just and everything you did it well. And when you gave Karin a task, like anything, when it was all involved in the church activities, she just took it to the top. And that was really unique to me because I didn't see everybody do that, things that Karin did and the way that she did them. So I definitely had an admiration for that and just how she ran things. She was involved in her husband's business. She was very astute. And even working with you, Karin, I realized this woman can do anything. And I saw you do things in business that I just sort of stood back. I'm like, whoa. As your HR manager, I was doing my HR things, but you shined in what you did. So I was impressed with you. And yeah, I don't think that personality-wise we were very much alike, but we had similar values, our family, our church, and God. And we connected at that level.
I think I looked at Robyn more like an older sister. I felt she always gave very wise counsel, but one of my insecurities was whether or not she ever needed my counsel. I guess I could sense a little bit this, boy, Karin is effective and, very German, but I was also acutely aware of the negative sides that came with it. So I guess I felt I was very effective in what I did, but I wasn't much needed for maybe what I could say or bring to the table.
Interesting. So that was how you felt that Robyn perceived you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Robyn, give us a snapshot of how you feel Karin perceived you.
Okay. So, or how I perceived her, or how?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So in light of that, Karin and I we were in a group together. We had a lot of interactions.
Yeah, lots of interactions.
And so Karin was unique in her way of communicating. Like if you needed something and needed an idea or a vision for something, Karin had big ideas. And even today, we've coined her as the big idea person. She's a think outside the box person. Mm-hmm. But people aren't always ready for big ideas. And so a lot of times Karin would suggest things to me and I would feel resistance in my spirit. Like, well, that's good for you, Karin. Great idea, but I'm not really. But I wouldn't say that. I would just kind of feel defensive and maybe put off a little bit and maybe back away. But I could appreciate it, but I really wasn't receptive to it. And so I saw her as somebody who was always calling people higher, calling things higher. And I definitely felt some resistance to that at times in my life and in conversations we've had.
So it sounds like you two had a bit of a mutual admiration society going in terms of like the distanced view of one another that you saw, like obviously, but Karin felt like she wasn't needed and you felt like a little scared to, receive some of what she offered. So I can sense that there obviously was some disconnects that potentially happened. Would you mind sharing any of those inside stories of little things that happened maybe that were coming from different places? And then we're going to transition into really what's changed and how you guys relate to one another now. Let's start first. Share a disconnect that you two might have had in the past.
Okay, I have a disconnect.
Okay.
I remember being a stay-at-home mom. I had a child later in life, so I was almost 40 when I had Alec. So I really valued like being home with my son and being able to raise him. My husband grew up with his mom working, and we both really valued having me home with Alec. And but yet, because of that, we couldn't afford a home. We had a one-income family. We still live in the same apartment for the last 26 years. And so we never really invested in me having a career, even though I had an HR background. So I remember sharing with Karin one day about this and like feeling a little frustrated that, we'd like to buy a home, but, really can't really do that. But of course, Karin and her big ideas, she's coming up with all these job opportunities and ideas. And why don't you work, Robyn? And she like was pushing me out of the nest. And I remember this conversation specifically because I literally went home in tears. Like I should have just said, oh, Karin, that's not what I want to do right now. But she was she was really just trying to solve the problem of me not being a homeowner.
Right.
But in doing that, I think we had a disconnect on my value. My value was I really want to be home with my son. And so even though I was sharing my need with her, I really wasn't willing to sacrifice the at home life. And so I just left feeling discouraged. I went home to Scott. I felt really insecure, like I'm not doing enough. And I just went crying to my husband. And I never even told Karin that, like how it made me feel till years later, recently. But it made me realize that, Karin was a great mom. She took care of her kids and she was a working mom, but I just didn't want to drive in that lane. And I felt like I didn't tell her that. That was a disconnect for me.
Okay, so that's a great example. Karin, can you share disconnect? Because we'll circle back around. I promise everyone, all the listeners. One of the things about the Vision Talks is that these are women that are faith-filled, adventurous women looking for new chapters in life, and they have a new chapter that we're sharing about right now. So we're going to get there, but I wanted to illustrate just even though they had a great, what they call a really good friendship, there are disconnects and insecurities and things that happen between relationships that can cause distance. So Karin, can you share something that was a disconnect for you? And then we'll bring it all back together.
I guess in a sense, I felt a little bit like in a box, the box of, wow, she's a German, straightforward woman who can use a little more gentleness and care in her life. but about the same, and I did, it's not that I disagree. But that was also my insecurity. And I think talking about the situation Robyn just brought up, what happened is I had a job I loved in Germany, which I ended up giving up to move here and follow my husband's professional dreams. And the first 3 years, I didn't have a consistent job, like 9-to-5 job. And that actually left me very unsatisfied, and I really struggled with my own worth because I really didn't want to be a stay-home mom. I was a stay-home mom against my own will, so to speak. And I guess one of the things that can easily happen, and I guess happened in this situation, sometimes we think one size fits all. Because I want to work, that means, well, of course, Robyn will want to work because work helps you to identify as whatever. And I guess just the assumption that what's good for me or what I think is good for me, whether it is a whole other story, what I think is good for me must be good for other people.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that's coming with age, but where I was able to put words to this kind of, perception or growth is to realize that no, one size doesn't fit all. I barely know what's good for myself, let alone for other people. And if I can, if I can manage to listen to the other person just for who they are and just get out of the way. But I think my own insecurity can easily get in the way of good relationships. Because when I give an idea and the other person is just defensive, I immediately take it personally. And then I feel defensive, and now I need to explain my idea, which then leads to Robyn in this situation feeling, gosh, can't she drop it, And then I feel like I have to explain more because I'm insecure about, did she really get that this advice is coming from a good place? And so long story short, I realize the more insecure I am about my own self-worth, the more insecure I'll be in any relationship. Because if I'm already beating myself up and then somebody says something or looks a certain way or asks the question with the whatever wrong tone, it immediately triggers something in me.
Well, Karin, I had the same reaction to you because here I'm coming from an insecure place too. I didn't feel confident about myself. Stay-home mom. I'm thinking, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I ambitious enough? And so I'm feeling insecure, like I am not doing enough. And yet this is what I felt I wanted to do at this time. But when you said that, it triggered my insecurity. So there I spiraled down, right? Because I didn't know myself. I didn't know, I couldn't stand up for myself because I wasn't standing on solid ground for myself emotionally. So what a perfect storm, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't it crazy though? Okay, so listeners, I want all the listeners to realize this is a good relationship we're talking about, right? In this state, we're talking about one that's pretty good. Now we could, and these women are love God and are committed to friendship, work together. Their families were friends. They had a lot of things connecting them. a lot of reasons to work things out. And so there's a lot of reasons other people are, don't have to work things out. So you could see if they didn't have all these reasons, how they could easily just forget you. I mean, I really have nothing to do with you. You're not my cup of tea. Either one of them could have said that. So I really wanted to commend both of you, first of all, for just the mature way that you've hung in there with each other. But what's really cool is kind of the next level that you've come to, which to me is what is so really, really fun to see where you've come. Because again, I think I said this, but in case I didn't, until about a month ago, I didn't understand the history of these two, even though we've been in a group together for about a year now, working together on our strengths, our values, our passions, what we believe, building out our next chapters together. And they're literally working side by side in this program. And I'm working to coach them both. I actually didn't know their history together. And it's become apparent how much they help each other up over the last couple of months or a year or whatever. They have really learned how to help one another up in a great new way. So there's my point is there's no hint of these insecurities anymore in their relationship. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect and they never feel insecure, but what I am saying is that they don't operate in that. If Karin makes a suggestion, Robyn runs away crying. It's not like that anymore, Or Karin walks away going, "Oh my gosh, I just stuck my foot in my mouth. Did I lose my friend? Am I just a overbearing German?" So they don't think and operate like that about themselves anymore. So therefore they don't think and operate like that anymore with each other. So let's go on and talk to the audience a little bit about the practical steps. There's two main things I hear you two saying that have really transformed your relationship in this regard. One, you getting clear on your own God-given strengths about who you're created to be. And then two, being very secure and settled in your values, which what we saw there are two. I just want to illustrate this for the audience. Robyn wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and Karin wanting to be a working mom are just two different values. No one's better, no one's worse. There's no one size fits all, to Karin's point. It's just a difference of values. It doesn't mean anybody is any better or worse. And unfortunately, we often will rate people or rank people or look down on people or look up to people because they have a different value than us. And that's really all that it is. Unfortunately, it creates a lot of conflict if they're not the value. You don't recognize, oh, that's just a value system. How cool. That's Karin's. Like we say a lot in the program, be a student, not a judge of yourself. And then, of course, that carries over to everyone around you. If you start being a student of yourself rather than a judge of yourself, then you start being a lot more gracious and appreciative of all those around you. So let's back up just a second and let's talk Robyn now, birthday girl, about your strengths. Why don't you share with us your, what we call an I am statement, which is the compilation of her top strengths. First share that and then share how that being secure in your strengths now helps you to relate better to Karin.
Okay, so through the program, I've developed a statement about myself based on Strength Finder, based on what people have told me about myself. And this statement is something that I affirm about myself every day. So my statement is, I'm an insightful advisor and passionate artist, creating beauty and empowering others to embrace their full potential. So these are the things I feel like emanate from me naturally, that my God-given strengths. So in using those, I feel like this has created a security in knowing myself better. I mean, you see things in yourself growing up, oh yeah, I'm good at this and that, but I'm very confident now that these are the ways that God wants me to use my life to help people and to reach out and to be who I am. So in doing that, I feel like I don't have to feel insecure about myself. If I'm not the big thinker, say that Karin is, then that's okay. Karin can be the big thinker. I have different skills and different abilities. And so I feel like I don't have to compare myself with her or anyone for that matter, which creates really great security in me.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautifully said. Thank you. I think what we're hearing, and I'll give Karin a chance in just a second, is that they've stopped like identifying from their roles. Karin's this high-powered businesswoman. Robyn's a stay-at-home mom. You don't have to compare yourself now or identify from that standpoint. You can actually identify now from your God-given strengths, which is a great equalizer. because nobody has your strengths. Nobody has the gifts that you have. So you're special and unique and beautiful in your own right. But most people don't know exactly what those are. And that's what Robyn just shared. We go through great lengths to identify what those are and then help you develop them, craft even this affirmation, this statement that compiles them all in one thing, in one sentence or two, maybe, and then memorize that so that your brain is now defaulting to that in any type of situation rather than your insecurity. So when Robyn now speaks to Karin, who is the big thinker, we'll talk about that in just a second, she's coming from, yes, but I'm an insightful advisor. And so, yes, Karin is all that, but so am I all that in the right and godly sense of the word. So it's powerful when you really learn who you are. And yes, I saw one of the Facebook users just said it's freedom from comparison. Right. It's absolutely, you're free from the comparison trap, which is absolutely beautiful. I appreciate that. So Karin, share with us now your strengths, your I am statement, and how it has changed the way you relate to Robyn.
I am a courageous and authentic connector, full of grit and grace, passionately inspiring others to think big and embrace opportunity.
I just love that.
But
Yes,
just even listening to Robyn and my own statement, what I realize is what we were sharing as our perceived weaknesses before, or the weakness in the other, we now, it's like the same kind of topics that we realize are actually our strengths. And I was brought up to not think, to not be full of myself or arrogant or whatever. So I realized that I wasn't able to embrace my strengths as a gift or something that that is unique to me. I felt more, no, those exact things are actually my weaknesses. And so what it did is it always made me focus on my own weaknesses rather than my own strengths. And practically speaking, I encounter it, I mean, to this day, by the minute, as my inner critic. And one of the things that Robyn and I have learned in our communication, like she literally comes out and asks me, so what's your inner critic been telling you? And I get to just share about, what are some things I'm insecure about. And then she will give me just very honest feedback. She says, yeah, maybe that wasn't perfect, but, look at the great things you do. And I also realized that we do have, like, we both value spirituality, family. We just go about it maybe in different ways. But one of Robyn's greatest strengths is also just the love for art and beauty and all that. And that is something that I've rarely really embraced in my life, but there is a big part of it in me. Like I would, for example, organize very creative birthday parties for Robyn. And so she would, I would enjoy the maybe not so obvious things we had in common, because that was something I really desired to have more of in my life. And Robyn has brought that to my life.
Yeah, I have to say, here's somebody that maybe in a moment, I may not be up for her big thinking in a situation. I may not be as receptive, but if I want something done and I want it done well, I know who I can go to now, because I know Karin has these gifts and these skills. And even before, she was showing up in my life. And I think, Karin, this is probably some of the reasons why we were close and connected, because, maybe you were challenging, but you were deeply loving. I mean, she gave me two of the greatest birthday parties of my life. I mean, my 60th birthday party was an art walk, you guys. I mean, who the heck would even thought of that? And she gathers all the people. It's like, that's like a lot of effort for me. And I think I look at Karin and she does it effortlessly because she does things in such a perfect and big way. And my 50th birthday party she had in the middle of December, women singing and dancing song for me. I'm like, these are two monumental events in my life that Karin is responsible for. And so I've come to appreciate that. Why did this happen? Because of who she is. Right. I may have a resistance to being that person. Maybe I don't want to be that person, but boy, do I appreciate her, because when she shows up big. And so looking back, I go, oh my gosh, that was Karin that did. I really didn't even realize how much Karin had orchestrated some of the great events of my life. And so there's where all the wonderful qualities of her showed up. But in my resistant moments, not recognizing that. And I think once we get in touch with our strengths and we can appreciate each other, stop judging ourselves, stop judging each other, and say, hey, but look at who she is. And that's really how our mindset has changed, is we see each other from a strength perspective now. When I think of Karin, I think of all the great things about her. I'm like, I could go to Karin for this and this and this and this. So it's created a mutuality in our friendship,
right,
and a dependency and an overlap. So she doesn't have to feel like I'm just a big sister. If I want a big idea, I don't have big ideas like Karin. I'll go to Big Idea Girl, and Karin will come to me for what she needs. So I really created a beautiful overflow. By the way, thank you for all those events, and how ironic that we're sitting here on my 63rd birthday.
I'm already thinking about the next big milestone birthday.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the interesting thing you're bringing up here is that there in the past maybe has been a form of hierarchy, and I will say that pretty sociologically that's common. In any social circles, whether it's the church, whether it's your neighborhood, whether it's your career, there are hierarchies that form. And it's those hierarchies that sadly create disconnects too. And it's really hard to move through those, move in and out of those hierarchies. But what I'm hearing is, again, the flattening of the hierarchy with you two, and you owning your spaces instead of trying to either be like or not be like in reaction to the other person, and owning who you are, and then looking toward each other as a compliment or a resource, as an add to in my life, an enrichment of my life. And one of the things that I have really come to believe is that I believe every individual is uniquely gifted. And if we take the time to discover, develop, and distribute those gifts, we will literally solve world issues and make this world a better place. I know that's really lofty, but what I see is the complement of the two of you making things better. Whether it's an art walk for your 60th birthday or singing in the cold, Christmas carols. And yet at the same time, this could not happen if there weren't the complement. Like if Karin weren't fully Karin and Robyn weren't fully Robyn, we wouldn't have this beautiful relationship. So I guess the other question I have for you would be like, I know we've talked a great deal about the strengths, but in terms of for you personally, what has been the biggest transformation that has occurred for you from the Live Your Vision program, and also for yourself personally, and then in regard to your relationship with the other? So Karin, go first.
Yeah, I feel maybe just taking one step back. What I don't want is anybody to feel, oh, well, of course, Robyn and Karin now have this perfect relationship. And who can have this or whatever. No, what I'm trying to say is it's all about, applying or practicing certain muscles. And I think it's a general knowledge that, relationships are best when they are mutual, authentic, and have some sort of consistency and a willingness to constructively work through conflicts. And I think that's just like, paraphrasing what everybody knows. But what helped Robyn and my relationship is, first off, we committed to a year of working together and being super intentional. So joining a life coaching program for a full year is a commitment. And I feel like the reason I was willing to invest in it, because I realized, gosh, I'm in my late 50s. Is this it? I need to be intentional and invest in my own growth. And for crying out loud, I'm worth it, and I think both Robyn and I had spent most of our lives just really trying to care for others. And I think the program offered me a platform to, without being full of myself, but to just be intentional about personal growth and embracing my strengths and my values and identifying my belief systems and all kinds of topics, even my thoughts about money and different things, to really take inventory has helped me to be less insecure about myself. And I realized the program is really something that wants something for me, not from me. And I guess that's the shift I realized in my relationship with with Robyn is I feel like she genuinely wants something for me. She wants my best. And I feel like because I can embrace my strengths, I feel like she also perceives me as somebody who genuinely wants her best, when maybe before she thought, gosh, what does Karin want from me now? And now it's more like, I really feel Karin wants something for me. Let me ask maybe more questions. And it's a mutual thing.
That's a big
again, a program of any sort is a commitment to consistency, authenticity. We're very vulnerable with each other, and we are not keeping track. Like, I feel like in the past, sometimes I think, oh, I called so-and-so twice. They haven't called me back, so let's drop it. And I feel Robyn and I can now just go right past that and just, and you know, I genuinely don't even know who calls whom, because we just don't keep track. It's not a topic. I know if I'm feeling kind of weak, who do I want to call? I want to call the friends who see my strengths, who know my weaknesses, but who want something for me. And so those are the first ones I'll call, and Robyn is always on that list.
That's beautifully said. My gosh, fabulous. Isn't that encouraging, Rob? I hope you feel like what a birthday present to realize you're first on the list. This woman that you admired. So beautiful.
I knew when I thought of even having this conversation about the growth in our relationship that it was going to be something really great, Karin. And when we started this together, this journey together, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were in for. We did not. We were both like, where are we going? It's like you're on this wagon and you're riding along. But as each part of this has unfolded for us, there's been so much emotional growth and healing in our life. I feel like, you know, as a 40-plus-year-old Christian, like I needed something to crack me open and help me to see my Christian life differently. And I feel like that's what's happened here. This whole coming from a strength-based place is like, it freed us up to have honest conversations with each other and feel safe. That's the thing. It's like, I'm a real, like, I don't feel safe. I don't have the conversation. So I have a deep trust now in my relationship with Karin, and now understanding myself better, that I could say anything to her, tell her anything, and that we can have an honest conversation and truly help each other. So I have no more fear with Karin. I have only trust and love. And that's where the walls, I think, are completely broken down. So if she wants to give me her big thoughts, I know how to respond to them if I'm not ready. And she knows how to receive my pause for it. But now we have a new dialogue, don't we, Karin? I feel like that's what we have. We have a new dialogue.
And I don't feel questioned in my motivation. I don't feel like, here you go again, Karin and the big ideas, imposing on everybody else. And, then I feel like I have to explain or defend myself. Now it's just like Robyn comes out saying, I love how you think big, but, I'm in this particular area, I'm not ready for it, but I hear you. And I think, just to know, I hear you, I know you are for me, and then respond, no, well, but I'm not ready, or this is not a good time, but the validation before the boundary, I think, is something that, practically speaking, is priceless.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And even times when I've thought, Scott and I'll get stuck on something in our business, I'll go, maybe we should ask Karin, because I know Karin thinks outside the box. See, in the past, I wouldn't have thought that. But now I'm like, now I get who she is. And there's such value in really understanding your friends at this level. And it's kind of strange to say that after knowing her for so long, like I didn't know her before. I mean, I knew her heart in some ways. I knew some of her abilities, but I just feel like I have a full picture of you now, Karin, and I have a deeper appreciation, and we have new dialogue. We have new dialogue.
Well, that is so well said. And I think that one of the things I see you saying is that it's you're the way you view each other is transcendent. You may have seen each other through the lens of your roles at work or roles and stations in life, and ages or years as a Christian or something like that. That may have been the lens that you ran your view of one another through. But now the way you see each other is through the God-given strengths that He's given you, and the values that He's given you, and the passions that you have, and the way that what you believe and how you think, the way you approach life. And all of that is just an entirely different way to see someone, because all that other stuff is just extra. Like, your big UCLA career or your, incredible dreams color media, business. Those things are extra because now you see that person so genuinely, and you can appreciate the beauty that God, the qualities of God that are radiating through them. And of course, what does that make you want to do? Get closer, learn more. Now, I will say this is an interesting conversation for all the listeners, because Live Your Vision was never designed to be a relationship building business. Like, we didn't set off to help everybody's friendships get better and have stronger relationships. It's total side effect. It's a side benefit. And the ultimate goal of course, is for those women that are adventurous, faith-filled women to find their way forward to a great next chapter. So that's literally why they came into the program, because they were both searching for that. And then lo and behold, as you fill yourself up, this overflow starts to happen with everybody around you, not just old friends, although it can happen with old friends and create new friends. It opens doors, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the thing that I've been so excited about, is how many doors have opened for both of you. I will say this to the audience now, both of them are nearing graduation. I'll put it that way, nearing graduation, because they're both almost complete with their work in the course. And it's been an incredible, two things have been revealed. Obviously, how wise and, we've gotten much clearer about what their strengths and specialties are and where they're best used. You may have seen them in some of our other different events. However, what we're seeing now is there's a place for them here. And we didn't even know that last year. Like, Robyn and her husband launched a new business, Dreams Color Media. It's fabulous. But we also have her on the team here at Live Your Vision doing coaching as well for the Success Group. And we're super excited about that. Karin has her big UCLA career, of course, doing wonderful things for that entity, but she's also a part of the Live Your Vision team, using her big thinking, which is her signature process, to help develop Live Your Vision. So both of them have found their roles on this team. Because it's like that, that idea that, when you see talent, when you see great people, you make room for them. And so it's been incredible to include you both on the team, because you've up-leveled us with the way you're being an insightful advisor and being the woman full of grit and grace that inspires others to think big, the two separate girls there. But both of you have added so much to the whole program, the community, and so many others. So I really wanted to personally say thank you to you guys both for being a part of our team, for doing this work on yourselves. And who knew that it would take your already good relationship to the next level? Great. Really, who knew, right? That would be a benefit.
So maybe I could at this point, just because it's a question I seem to be getting a lot from my friends when I brag about, Live Your Vision and the life coaching. The way I usually explain it is that life coaching is really looking forward. What do I want my next, whatever, chapter in my life or my next decade to look like? And it has a lot to do, I feel like, with mental strengthening, which keeps us from spiraling. And I think Robyn has said that before. I feel like, and I've been in therapy before. I feel like therapy is in comparison a lot more just digging deeper and finding the pain points in your life, and then hopefully finding healing. But what I found is in Live Your Vision, it kind of did both in a way. Like Julie isn't my therapist or anything, but she very much sees also my wounds and the gaps, and life coaching in many ways just fills the gaps of, what is it that keeps you from moving forward and really being excited about your new chapter. I'm not someone who loves to age, to be quite honest, but I can say I really look forward to my next chapter. And the last year, because of looking forward and being more in tune with my strengths, has in many ways been one of my favorites because of that. And that's a big compliment to you, Julie. But there are some things that you learn, and mental strengthening is one. But then one other aspect is also to, embrace your strengths. But our friend Lynn always says you learn to shorten your fight time. And that's something that's been really true for me. Like when maybe let's just say I have an interaction with somebody, Robyn or anybody, and I feel super insecure. The question is, do I feel insecure for a week or a month or for an hour? And I'm not suggesting that I no longer have insecurities or beat myself up or, any of that. Those things just come up just as frequently as before. But I feel like if you're in tune with your values, your beliefs, your strengths, and those are all tools, we practice, then you can shorten the fight time. Mm-hmm. And we have a couple things that come up in every single meeting we have. One is, what's your recent win? And boy, do I have to be creative at times, because it feels like, gosh, this last week really sucked for 50 reasons. But it's like the mental discipline of asking ourselves, what's a win you've seen? And yes. that's like an exercise that practices certain muscles. Or how often do we tell each other, be a student, be curious about why this happened, even this thing that you aren't proud of, why did it happen, rather than immediately judging yourself.
Right.
So those are some of the just practical tools. And it's like with physical exercises, what's good for you, but you still need to do it. And I feel like the life coaching program has helped me we kind of hold each other accountable to do the mental fitness strengthening exercises that we know are good for us, but they are so hard to do on your own.
Yes.
And Karin, I want to say
help
this
each other to do that.
I was just going to say, we don't let each other go down, right? It's like,
not for very long.
No. It's like you're busy pulling your friend up with the right perspective. And I've been calling it lately my mind change attitude about the challenges of my life, the gift that keeps on giving. That's how I feel about my life now. Mm-hmm. So what I've gleaned from, and I love what you said, Karin, but all these tools that we have, they're not just for us to use with each other in the program. This applies to my marriage. This applies to all my relationships, to the way that I interact with my family, my world, because these are tools for life. They're survival tools. They're thriving tools. They're things that we use to take us higher. And the value that I have now, the tools that I have to deal with my life are the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm going to take them with me, and I'm going to keep growing in them and supporting each other in that. Karin and I now, we have a partnership. So we know we have this insight now through the program that we can take and help each other with. That's almost like a special tool to help really in our personal growth that we just wouldn't have. And all these years,
like you said, they do apply in every relationship. I mean, even if I, like last week, I had a conversation with a friend who I really appreciate. We just haven't had a lot of time together. But even in just one conversation with somebody, no matter how far back we go, I can focus on their strengths. And I can ask them, tell me something that's great about you, and or that's a win or something you're proud of. When in the past, I would have just labeled that as cheap flattery. Now it's more like, no, it's not cheap flattery. It's a tool. It's like, that's what keeps me sane. I need to practice it, or else I just kind of want to shoot myself. I mean, it's just like, it's a gift that you can apply. And like Robyn said, that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Well, it's everywhere. This research is super powerful. This is obviously, thousands of years old in God's eyes. And he's been trying to get us to encourage one another daily, genuinely infuse courage, not flatter, is what you're saying. That's what he's been trying to do forever with us. But research has shown that it's superior anyway. I mean, in the workplace my husband just delivered a great message in a company in Salt Lake City this week that just was really like, you're in the dark ages if you're not managing your people from a strengths-based position. If you're not looking to encourage them daily about what they are doing, you know what? Why should they work with you? Where should they work for you? And the Great Resignation's no joke right now, because the old way of living where you were criticized heavily and had all these growth opportunities most of the time, is really coming to an end of the way that people want to be even treated. We're seeing the superiority of that here as a little microcosm of our group, and then giving you tools to take that out into the world. So I just really appreciate you guys highlighting that. Thank you for being the example today and letting us share about your relationship, and being so vulnerable too about how you've even hurt each other in the past, or felt hurt by the way that you came across, or your own insecurity. Clearly you guys have grown a ton, and it's super exciting. So many doors are opening for you guys. It just thrills me. I wanted to say to our audience, there's several ways if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing here and being a part of a group such as Karin and Robyn have been a part of. We have our Live Your Vision Success Group, which we have open now, and enrollment is open now for the whole next year. You get to join us, and it is a self-paced group where you actually go through the modules and train on these tools that Karin and Robyn are talking about on your own time, on your own schedule. So, through the video pieces, you get to learn these tools. And then we meet twice a month to be able to practice them on one another. Get help, get support, get accountability, get some lifting up, crushing some inner critics, whatever it takes, sharing our wins, and really, elevating the community. We feel a great obligation to elevate one another. We're here to lift one another up. So I really want to strongly advise you, if you're interested in making a real shift, like that 2022 is your year, then by all means, check out the Live Your Vision Success Group. This is what Karin and Robyn are actually going to be now moving into a position of leadership in that. They're going to be, Robyn's going to be taking over the coaching for that. Karin's going to be assisting. So their very fresh experience with this is going to be so invaluable. And, we have other coaches that'll be coming in there as well, but I highly recommend giving yourself a year. It's extremely reasonably priced. It's incredible value, and you learn so much, as well as have this networking community that you can now finally explore who you are and grow. Now, if you're not quite ready to commit for a year, we also have this opportunity, thanks to Karin, about how you can sample what we're doing here today. And you can purchase the very first module of the Live Your Vision Success Group and go through it on your own if you want to. It's like $67. It's super cheap, but you too can learn how to tap into your own superpowers, AKA your strengths. So if you want to get a really good understanding and really have a shift in your own abilities, get clear on the strengths that God's given you. And we go through the exact specifics on how to do that, and then help you create. You can talk to either Karin or Robyn, and they'll help you create your own personal I am statement, which will then help you rewire your brain and have a different view of you, so you can have a new understanding of the value that you bring to this world, and ultimately interact with others in a much more effective and secure, confident way. So we'll include the links for both the Success Group, which is the year-long opportunity if you're ready to just dive in and give yourself a big Christmas present, or you want to just sample it first. The sample, if you do decide to dive in after you do the sample, will be credited to you as part, into the bigger group. So basically you're trying it for free if you want to look at it like that. So I'm really thankful that you were able to join us on this busy holiday Saturday. And Robyn's birthday. I wanted to just give Karin and Robyn last words here before we sign off. And so why don't we start with Karin and end with the birthday girl, and then we'll wish you all a happy holiday.
I'm sorry. I got distracted. I see a dog outside my window.
Closing words for us, Karin.
Okay,
what am I supposed to say?
Just parting words for us, my friend.
Well, I want to close by quoting a German birthday song that if I was a great singer, I'd sing it to you, but I'm just going to say it to you. It says something along the lines, I'm so grateful that you were born, because otherwise I would have missed you too much. And so, Robyn, I really would have missed you way too much if you wouldn't have been born. So I'm very grateful for your presence in my life.
Thank you, Karin. Thank you. What a journey this has been, Karin. I feel like we've just begun in some ways. Isn't that wonderful? As the renewal of new thinking, of a new dimension of our relationship. And I want to thank you for all the years of commitment to me and the big events that you've put out in my life, and just the life-changing moments I've had with you. And hey, we're still young. Now we're on a new journey together. The Success Group, Live Your Vision. See, God just keeps on putting us together, and we are having fun. I'm so happy to have a focus in my 60s, a useful, a thriving, growing view of myself, and just a healthier spirituality. And I feel like I'm definitely, instead of going, I'm old waiting for grandchildren, I am now looking forward to the next chapter, because we've got some great tools and some perspectives and a great program to focus on together. Thank you, Julie, for all you've done for us. You guys have no idea. This is big.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me today and joining the rest of our viewers. I know they'll get a thrill out of that. I know it's made me think about some relationships that I want to step into, older relationships that I had that I was quite insecure at the time when I was around these people, but to show up in a new way and to look in hope for the new relationship that could be restarted there. And your example has given me that hope. So you can see how this is definitely a win-win community. We feed each other, we lift each other up. And I just wanted to say thank you to you both, and a very, very happy birthday to you, Robyn. We pray for you to feel so special and loved, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we hope we'll see you again and live your vision. And in the community, you're all welcome. We look forward to connecting with you there. Have a great day and Merry Christmas.